what does Russ do best? Throw outside the numbers. You know what the Steelers wide receivers do better than everybody? Catch the ball
Argue.
outside of the numbers. No. We have Najee, we have Jalen Warren, we have Pat Fryermuth,
I
we
saw that y'all
have
might
Darnell
sign Johnny
Washington.
Smith.
Maybe. I mean, I'm okay with whatever. I just want to see like I need to see production from our team. I don't know who is that going to come from. I really don't care. I have no allegiance to anyone. Like I hope like our wide receiver core group and our running back, like I hope our skill cores group stays the same. But like speaking on quarterback, I have no ties to any of them. Like Mason Rudolph, there's been a point where you were probably one of my most hated players in sports. Um, but now I feel either slightly I like you to like neutral, and then I mean Russ. I've never really been that big of a Russ fan, but he's a better. I feel he's a better quarterback at least now than Kenny is. Um, I love Kirko, but I would not want to give Kirko his money he's going to be asking for to come play for us.
Oh, you
I
should
don't know.
give
I
him the
feel like
money.
this.
He is a goat.
He is. I feel like the Raptors are kind of stuck in like a, or not Raptors, Steelers are kind of stuck in a purgatory right now when it comes to the quarterback position. We drafted someone who we quote unquote thought was our guy. Um, and I'd say that he fully isn't, but
He's not.
he's not really close to he's not close to proving that he is. But then there's like decent options out there, but then even if those options do work out, we still would have to draft someone relatively soon to actually come back and be the guy. So we're kind of just putting ourselves in a repetitive cycle without like actually committing to one way. Um, so I'd really like to see the Steelers like find their quarterback and go a certain way. Because if we get Russ, and I'm like, okay, obviously our game plan is we're trying to compete for a championship.
Yeah.
If we stick with Kenny, then it's not to say that I think our goal isn't to win a championship, but it's more so it's just like, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna keep doing what we've been doing, which is why been we haven't won a playoff game in like 7 years now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If y'all do keep Kenny, I think you're just going to try and push to keep on trying to develop him. Which I mean, I wouldn't fully abandon Kenny regardless of who you sign, and I'm sure you agree with that.
Oh yeah, no,
Just because
that's not
he
what I'm
is still
saying. But I'm just
young.
saying like we have to get somebody who's like worth who's gonna like we need the person who's gonna make us the best team when they step into the field. And if that's Kenny, then bring Kenny. If it's Justin Fields, then go get Justin Fields. If it's Russ, sign Russ. It's definitely not Tannehill.
Like you got Baker.
But I'm okay with any of those options. Realistically, I think, like I said, I think we end up with Russ. Ryan Tannehill also likely. Like I agree with you. I think Kirko probably goes back to the Vikings. And I think Justin Fields probably goes home to
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Dude, if he goes to Atlanta, they are gonna win their division.
I mean, probably it's a very weak division. But even then, I mean, look at the Bucks. I'm not saying they were anything special, but I feel like with a team that didn't that no one really thought was going to be as good as they were, they're like, okay, now we can just build upon that. They are going to be losing Mike Evans, but still,
Maybe.
I mean, I'd be surprised if he signs back there.
We'll
I mean, they
see.
got the
Maybe
money, but
he likes Baker.
I guess Bros already won a chip.
I'll say, if he wants to be a Hall of Famer, he'll
Once you
go to
got the
Kansas
chip,
City.
who, Mike Evans? I mean, that's
Yeah.
where I think he was going to go, like realistically. But I mean, I could see him staying in Tampa, just being like, I've been here my whole entire career, and just feels like home. I already won a chip. I'm gonna get paid well here, no matter what. People are gonna love me. There's no pressure because no one thinks we're gonna be a championship team, so I can just go out there, and even if I am kind of doo doo, like it's probably just gonna get put in the footnote of a newspaper instead of like the headline, like it would be if he was like doo doo at the Chiefs. So I don't know. I respect it. I think he should go to the Chiefs though, or at least
That's what I
somewhere
would
where it's
do.
like somewhere where bro can go be generational and be
Like me,
highlighted. What are you generational at?
podcasting,
Okay, that's why.
just
That's
like
why. Can
you.
you handle the heat numbers are up right now?
They're soaring.
To all the listeners, take a moment to say what's been your favorite episode out of our last 5 episodes. I feel like we've been on a pretty good run recently.
You've been
You
on a
know,
tear.
either message either message me and Max or put in like there's like a Google Docs in the link tree, like a suggestion box you can put in there. What's been your favorite episode? What's been your favorite episode in the past 5 episodes, Max? Just a little,
I like the Super Bowl episode. I think we
discussion.
talked a lot about that. It is like one of the biggest events of the year as well. Plus we got Mikey on, and then we were able to talk about the trade deadline stuff. So that was like two huge events that happened like back to back. Like we were able to bring on a guest as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say I'd probably say the Alden and Maddie
This shit was
episode.
goofy,
Yeah, it was a very
but like
goofy
a good
episode.
goofy.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Definitely not
if
Jade.
only they weren't so quiet, you people would have been able to hear him better. But you know, still overall pretty good episode. Great episode. Pretty good. Selling myself short. Great episode. If you haven't checked it out, Witches and Wordle with Maddie May and Alden, like the little self promo. But hopping back into things, yeah, I think we talked about most of the NFL stuff that's going on right now. Combine coming up soon, so we'll talk about that soon.
A lot of
Um,
people aren't participating in it though.
yeah, I mean it makes sense though. I feel like most of the people who aren't participating are not participating because at this
It can
point,
only hurt them. Yeah,
yeah, it can only hurt them more than it would like rise their stock. So, I mean, you make sense. You see this every single year. I just think it's more so the talent gap. Like this is one of the more richer drafts. Um,
I think JJ
so it
McCarthy is
makes
going to
sense.
rise on a lot of boards because he's like one of the only quarterbacks that's going to be playing there.
True,
Like he
true.
could solidify himself as a first rounder, or he could show that he's truly a bum, just like all Michigan players are.
Either way, Loki helps him. If he plays like a bum and then ends up going to a really good team, bro gets to develop, get paid, and then
That's
probably
true.
get an opportunity that actually means something with an actual decent cast instead of
On the
going to like a
Steelers,
maybe. If we can get him in the second round, I think if we can get like either him or Penix in the second round, I think it's
Bo
worth
Nix.
taking. Um, maybe Bo Nix in the second round. I don't know. I'm a little higher on Penix and McCarthy before Bo Nix, but I think Bo Nix is kind of like the Justin Herbert, where it's like if you want a modern quarterback build, strong arm, 6'5", athletic, can make every throw, can pull the ball out and scramble. I mean, I think Bo Nix is your guy, but I mean, it's kind of just like a Will Levis pick where it's like, you know, I don't know. I feel like you're giving up that generational gap where it's like it's that decision making that makes other people better. That I don't know Bo Nix has. I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about? Any of the quarterbacks that you want to talk about, or
Jaden Daniels, you are a Patriot. That's all I have to say.
that's what you feel? Hey, LSU boy, you already got one LSU player, and Keishon Butte.
He got cut.
No. What
Did
the
you not
hell?
see
That
he
was
got
literally a
arrested?
first round bro. Come on,
He's not in the league anymore. He is cooked.
he'll be back soon. He'll be back soon.
Mm.
All great success stories have a comeback story.
We were
But
never down. We've always been up.
okay, speaking of people who are up, speak, yeah, speaking of people who are up, because segueing past that, contenders, pretenders, NBA. Who are some of your contenders and who are some of your pretenders, Max? Who you think's really about that action? Who's about to fold like a lawn chair?
So in the East, teams that I have that are about that action, had to put my city down. Had to put Boston. If this isn't the year, then there'll be serious questions to be asked in the off season. Again, another really solid start. People are all playing at their best. People are sharing the ball. The team likes each other. Glad to see the bench get utilized a little more because in the playoffs that is so important. Like when someone gets injured for some reason. I also have Philly down if they have a healthy Embiid, just because I do think they have a good roster and they were still hanging in with us for most of the night last night in the Garden. So you can never count them out, especially if Embiid really wants to solidify his legacy. And then I also had the Heat just because they're bred for the playoffs, and I think they like I said, it's a hard environment to win in, and they've got some guys in there, and I think their record is not as bad as the team is, or as good as the team is. Sorry, as good as the team is.
Fair. Um, I'm going to for the East contenders. I'd probably say the Celtics. Yeah. As much as it pains me to say, they're looking good. They're figuring out a way to like win in different ways, but then also still be consistent in making sure everybody in the starting lineup eats. Um, Interesting you put the Sixers up there because I was literally just thinking about that today. Like, if you're the
Only
Sixers,
if Embiid is
are
playing though.
you? I mean, if you're the Sixers, do you think like would you bring Joel Embiid back? He's getting reevaluated next week to see if he's healthy enough to start revamping, start playing again.
It depends on what he looks like. If he's not 100%, then I might just honestly chill on it. But also, I mean, you could always just wait to use him until the playoffs because I mean they'll make the playoffs, and I think that that's all you really need a lot of times. Like the Heat, it's like a marathon for them. They always sort of limp into the playoffs and then make it to the finals just because they're not as tired as other teams. They're going out there and trying to beat you every night.
I don't know. I think compared to other years, and I know the Heat are the Heat. I just I don't know. I think there's some other teams that are have a little bit more in the pecking order than them, but they are starting to heat up recently. Um, I I'm really on the fence on if I think the Cavs are contenders or pretenders. Even though they have my favorite player, Donovan Mitchell, but
I wanted to
I'd
put him
probably put
down so bad.
I'd probably put them in pretenders for now, even though I actually do really like their roster and the players on it. That's some of my favorite players. But until they can prove that they aren't the team that got basically like washed by the Knicks, they're pretenders. Um, I'm also going to put the Timberwolves down as pretenders. I know they've been number one seed in the NBA for most of the year, and they've been pretty much coasting by everyone. But I don't know. I think they're. I like Anthony Edwards, but something about his game just doesn't. It's not like fully there for me yet. For me to think like, because right now, if it played how it most likely is going to play out, the Timberwolves would probably either be playing the Lakers or the Warriors, and I feel like a number one seed should never. There should never be that much questioning of what you think the outcome is going to be for number one seed. But what literally no matter who they play,